Hello, friends. This is Scott, and we're back at the hobby farm. Now, this was filmed about a week ago. I'm getting ready to make my first planting bed for vegetables. And so I've got my pile of dirt here and my trusty wheelbarrow and buckets. And I'm also burning some wood. So I have some biochar in the future. Obviously, it won't be done today because it's going to be too hot to be throwing it around, and I want it to cool down for a few days after I put the fire out. But that'll go on top of the beds and help to enrich them over time. So first step though is got to screen this dirt, and this is why I've got to screen this dirt. People are always asking me, well, why don't you use heavy equipment? Why don't you just get a front end loader or a tractor or something? Well, this is why. I don't want this stuff, all these rocks in my new planting beds. You can have enough rocks anyway, but when you're building beds, kind of above ground, I want to, just use organic matter, and a little bit of pebbles is fine, but I don't want big rocks. So there's where the dirt's going, and here's where it ended up. Now I did use, some of the cut grass that I've been cutting over the last little while that I piled along the fence lines, and I used the chicken compost here. And so I'm just layering it like lasagna, like I always do, with some cardboard on the bottom, chicken manure, and then grass, and then this screen soil. And then at the end, you'll see that I top it with wood chips. So here's a look at the bed, almost done. And that's how much grass I did. I want it to also smother some weeds, but it's going to break down over time. And this bed may not be the most productive the first year, but it'll all work out in the long run. So there's a look at the completed bed before I planted. And what I'm planting today is the first vegetable crop at the hobby farm, and it's garlic. So you've got to plant garlic in the fall so you can have a spring harvest. So I did buy 10 bulbs from the grocery store, and I just use grocery store garlic. It works better for me. It's a soft neck variety than the stuff that I've mail ordered in from other parts of the country. This garlic always works for me, so that's what I use. Now, this will not fill up the whole bed. I've only got 10 bulbs, but it's going to be almost 200 cloves, so it's going to be quite a bit of garlic, but it'll take about half the bed, I think. So I'll have another half in the spring to plant something else. So you have to break apart these bulbs into individual cloves, and the old adage, the bigger the bulb, the better the harvest will be, and that's probably true. But I'm going to plant all the cloves. I mean, there's big ones, and then there's real dinky ones in here, and they're all going to get planted, and we'll see how they do. They'll all produce something. So I'm looking forward to garlic. Haven't planted it in my home garden yet. I'm way behind. So I'm going to get this garlic in first thing. And so at least I have something growing. I did plant some berries, so there's a little bit of food already planted here, but got lots to do, and I've got a lot more beds to make. I mean, I'm going to make this whole property hopefully kind of the Garden of Eden here. So in my little half-acre hobby farm. So we'll see, but we got to start with garlic, and we'll go from there. But here's a look at approximately 180 to 200 cloves of garlic. Now, as I fumble one here, let me show you the most important thing. That's the top, and that's the root side. The root side's got to be down. Don't plant it upside down. So because these beds are just newly created, they're very soft soil and compost underneath and material, so I can just shove them right in the ground. I do plant mine pretty dense. I plant about every 4 to 6 inches. So as you see here, I've got them scattered, and I did grow on one side of the bed, which is the east side, leaving the west side for next year, and I'll probably plant onions or something else there, but I don't have time to plant any other crops at this point. I've got beds to make, and I've got to get inside the house and start doing some remodeling. But I wanted to make sure I got my garlic in, and I'm a couple weeks later than I usually plant, but just that's the way it worked out. So simple planting process is you just make sure the root side's down, and with this soft soil, you just shove them right into the ground, and really easy. Now, as you see here, Miss Thing is checking things out. You can see she's getting real comfortable here. It used to be that I could never get anywhere near her, and then I could only, pet her when we were sitting on the porch, and now she's following me throughout the yard. So we're having a good time along with Theo. But 200 cloves, this project just took a few minutes. It wasn't a big deal, but it takes a little time. But it's very simple planting when you're creating beds. If this was an established bed that had been sun-baked, I would have to, loosen the soil up a little bit. I don't want to till. I want the worms and everything to mix this material over time. I think Mother Nature has a better philosophy with making beds than man does. Man can do it quicker and get a better harvest right away, but I think Mother Nature does it slower in layers, and over time it adds more fertility for a longer period of time. So after I've got them planted, I just smooth them over with my hand and just make sure they have good soil contact and there isn't any exposed. And Miss Thing is sharpening her claws. I didn't realize she was doing that until I was editing this video. So she's feeling pretty comfortable. Always after planting, I always water it in really good. And so I do it water twice. I water it in once the plants are planted or the bulbs are planted. And then I water it again after I work with these wood chips that I brought down to the hobby farm. And that's what I mulch with. And so once I have this all watered in, I'll throw a layer of mulch down. I'm not going to do a real thick layer. It'll be about an inch at this time of the year, just so it keeps it moist. I don't want to smother everything. I want the garlic to be able to grow up through it. Mulch too heavily now, the soil won't warm up for that garlic to start growing. So that's all it is. That's all it took to get one bed up and running here at the hobby farm. So hope you like this video, and if you want to see other videos, I've got 155 plus. They're in my library. So appreciate your support. Hit the buttons, like, share, subscribe, and comment, as I'd love to hear your thoughts on what I'm doing down here at the hobby farm. So thanks for watching.